Welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. I'm Carolyn Shearlock, here with tips, reviews, and how-tos for your cruising adventure. This episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by GoSunStove.com, inventors of the world's fastest, most compact solar cookers for all your ship-to-shore culinary adventures. GoSun, using the power of the sun to fuel your galley life. Use coupon code GALLEY2018 to save 10% on any order through December of 2018. Slow down, slow down. We didn't realize how well stocked our first cruising boat, K-Tal, was when we bought her. We bought her in Mexico, and the previous owner had recently brought her down from the U.S., fully stocked with spares. We spent 4 days just inventorying what was in the lockers. Barefoot Gal, by contrast, had almost nothing aboard when we bought her. When we first moved aboard, we brought a lot of tools, and my first Amazon order was filled with things such as wire crimpers and PB blaster. As we've done various projects, we've added more and more to our tools, supplies, and parts. Cruising in Florida, we had always been reasonably near populated places where we could get what we needed and gradually built up the spares. But then we were planning to head to the Bahamas, so we had to seriously think about the spares. What else did we need? On one hand, we want to be able to repair critical systems, or at least have backup systems in place. On the other hand, we have to consider space and money. As Dave says, we can't just tow a whole spare boat around. Yes, there are stores in the Bahamas, and we can get things shipped in. But that can be both expensive and time-consuming. So we try to strike a middle ground of having parts and supplies for the most likely problems, and those things that would have to be fixed, and not trying to have spares for everything. We know from past experience that a lot of gear can actually be done without, or jury-rigged with what's available. It seems like we bought things every day. I know we really didn't. Most days what we're really doing is going over systems and deciding what we do think we need to have aboard. To be honest, this part all takes time. Every boat is different, of course, but just to give an idea, and this is absolutely not a comprehensive list of what we're doing. For the freshwater system, we have some spare hose. All of ours is 1/2 inch, so it makes it easy to have fuses, a solenoid relay, spare fuel pump, and an alternator belt. On the autopilot, we have a spare belt. For our sails, we have sail repair tape, thread, needles, lots of extra blocks, shackles, and line. For our stove, we have a spare solenoid and a regulator for the propane. For electrical, we have lots of spare wires and connectors, fuses, and of course all the tools for this. For our anchor light, we have a spare Davis Mega Light. We use an LED bulb with it. And we also have several Lucy lights aboard that we could use in an emergency. We've opted not to carry a spare alternator, as nothing runs directly off our alternator, and we have both solar power and a generator for charging the batteries. It's been our experience that anywhere there are cars, there is someone who can rewind an alternator, or sell us one. Plus, we have all the consumables, such as engine oil, filters, oil, fuel, and water, engine coolant, coconut coir for our composting head, battery water, WD-40, and more. Some of these we plan to take enough for our time in the Bahamas. Others we figure we'll take, but we may have to buy more while we're there. And then there's all the other repair stuff, such as tools, screws, bolts, cable ties, and so on, that are just a normal part of living on a boat. We're always pretty well stocked on those. The whole issue of spares can be a real budget buster for the first year of cruising. It's one of those hidden costs that don't show up in most articles. It's not quite so bad in subsequent years. Yes, you want to replace spares as you use them, but you usually don't use everything in a single year. Admittedly, if you're staying pretty much in your home area, you may not need too many spares and can just buy what you need as you need it. That's kind of what we did in our first year on Barefoot Gal. Slowly started building spares as we needed things. But then, as you plan to go further afield, it's time to carry more, but not too much. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please be sure to subscribe in your podcast app. Just search for the Boat Galley Podcast. And reviews are always appreciated. Until next time, then.
Slow down, slow down.